Hey, good morning, everybody. Pastor Larry here, and it is Wednesday, and we are March the 3rd. And I'm happy that you have joined me this morning. Looking forward to spending the next couple of minutes with you, and trust that something that I say can be an encouragement to you, be helpful to you, and add value to your life, because that is what I really want to do. I've been reminded again over the last couple of weeks how difficult it is living a life where you are responsible to people, but you're not responsible for people. I've been reminded again that sometimes I have to give people up to God. I don't have to give up on them, but I have to give them up in order for God to produce in them what He wants to produce. And I have to be reminded that it's not me who can make the change in people, but only God can. And so as a pastor, many times I walk in the frustration and the tension of knowing that the people that I love and the people that I minister to have the potential to live different lives, but they are living beneath the potential that they possess. And so oftentimes what ends up happening, if I'm not careful as a pastor and as a shepherd, it's very easy for me to move out of ministry mode into manipulation mode, because I want to see people's lives changed. I want to see people's lives transformed. I want to see people living up to what it is that God has purposed and planned them for. But God has reminded me over the last couple of weeks that it is my job to love people. It's His job to change people. It's my job to be responsible to people, not for people. I can't be responsible for others' decisions. I can't be responsible for what others choose to do with their life or in certain aspects of their life. But I have a responsibility. I have a responsibility first to love them. I have a responsibility to be truthful and to speak truth in love to them. I have a responsibility to be present when they need me to be present. Those are the things that I have a responsibility to people. And I have to give people an opportunity to grow in the grace and the knowledge of God, so that they come to the understanding that what God has done for me, what God has done for others, He can absolutely do for them. But I cannot do that for them. And so I've got to be very careful in my relationships that I don't get ministry and manipulation confused. You've got to be careful in your relationships that you don't get ministry and manipulation confused. You've got to be careful in your relationships, in your daily life, that you are not trying to operate as God, but you're just trying to be responsible to people and not for them. Remember, if you take on people's victories, you'll also take on their defeats. If you take credit for their victories, you'll take responsibility for their defeats and for their failures. And that's putting us in a role and putting us in a place that God never designed us to fill. He never designed you and I to be the ones that bring change. He designed us to be the ones that represent change and testify of change and point people to the changer. But beyond that, God has to draw them, and they have to be drawn by His Spirit, and they have to have a desire and a willingness to move out of where they are into a better life. So maybe some of my experiences can help some of you today, and you can walk into this day and the rest of this week and dealing in your relationships with people, and know that you can love people, but not everybody gets to have access to everything about you. You can be responsible to people, but you can't be responsible for people. You can call people to a higher place, but you can't manipulate them to get them there. You can give people Jesus and you can give them love, but sometimes you have to give them up. Not give up on them, but you have to give them up to God in order for Him to be able to do the work that only He can do. Thank God we serve a changing God. I pray for you this week. I pray that you would be blessed and favored as you live out His grace and goodness in the world in which we live. God bless you today. We'll see you soon.